What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Ventures Tower, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is out, and it's now time to do an ending / post-credit scene explained video. Smash a freaking like on this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel because, oh, baby, am I going to be doing a ton of videos all about the MCU after the Multiverse of Madness. This movie makes massive changes for the MCU and sets us up towards Secret Wars, which I am super excited about. So, obvious and obligatory spoiler warning: if you don't want spoil for the movie, obviously don't watch the ending explain video before you go see it. Now, I want to kind of just generally get into what exactly happens at the end of the movie, and I want to talk about some really cool things that I realized after thinking about this ending all last night. So, we essentially arrive at a point where Stephen Strange and Rachel McAdams' character are put in a random universe, and America Chavez is put back into the 616 universe with Wanda, and Wanda begins siphoning off her powers. Now, interestingly enough, the Stephen Strange that's in this universe that Rachel McAdams and 616 Stephen arrive in is a ruined universe after an incursion. Now, it's not 100% clear if this is where two universes just collided and both universes were destroyed. It kind of seems like, with the dialogue that the Stephen from this universe gives to our Stephen, that he lost a battle between universes and he remains in this one that's essentially destroyed. He's the keeper of the Darkhold in this universe, and he thought using the Darkhold would give him the power to save his universe in some kind of an incursion conflict. They have a really sweet, like, musical, magical battle, which I thought was freaking awesome, but it ends with our Stephen getting the Darkhold and the other Stephen being thrown out of the window and impaled on some spikes. He dies in front of the other Rachel McAdams character, which is painfully ironic because that Stephen was going to give the Darkhold spells to our Stephen if our Stephen just gave him the Rachel McAdams character. Because one of the sort of underlining lessons here is that all the Stephens in the multiverse, or at least all of them that we've seen, love Rachel McAdams' character. They love Christine. So anyway, our Stephen Strange uses the Darkhold, finds the 616 universe where Wanda is again extracting the powers from America Chavez out, and he uses the dream walking spell to possess the dead body of the Defender Stephen Strange that we see at the beginning of the movie that they bury on that rooftop in New York. Then Stephen and consequently Rachel McAdams' character are both attacked by these wraith-looking things meant to be some kind of demonic entities that are coming after Stephen because he is doing something against natural law and order by possessing or dreamwalking into a dead body. And Christine says something to him that was awesome and allows Stephen to have the will to take possession of these different wraiths. She says, "You are the master of the mystic arts, and these are just spirits. Use them." And as a big old Doctor Strange fan, I just absolutely love that aspect. And he takes the wraiths, controls them, making them into some kind of a weird cloak for his zombified self. It was freaking amazing. He then confronts Wanda with the help of Wong, who climbs up the mountain. They're able to subdue those creatures and actually capture Wanda and keep her captured for a short time period. Wong kind of crosses a line here and tells Stephen to take the powers of America Chavez like the other Stephen at the beginning of the movie was said to do, because Wong's super afraid that Wanda's just going to take her powers and then wreak total havoc on the multiverse. And so Wong says to Stephen, "You've got to steal her powers." And America Chavez even admits that she understands now, and she's kind of going along with it, like, "Yeah, take my powers." Stephen refuses to do it and actually tells her that she can control her powers and she has to control her powers to defeat Wanda. Now, America Chavez is able to use her powers, and she still doesn't actually think that she's going to be able to defeat Wanda. And so what she does instead is opens up a portal that will allow our Wanda to travel into the universe where the children are, and then our Wanda has this really crazy interaction where her children in that universe are terrified of her, and her actual mother is there to protect her. It's this really, really crazy scene that eventually ends at this place where Wanda, seeing the horror on the faces of her children, actually understands and acknowledges what she has done, and then goes back into our native universe, has a pretty cool interaction with the other Wanda, basically saying, like, just know that they will be loved. Then Wanda goes back to our universe. And importantly, she destroys the Temple of Chthon, which was really the original copy of the Darkhold itself. And it would appear that she actually is destroying the Darkhold in every other universe, as we see back with Christine and our Steven, that the Darkhold that he was using is destroyed and dissolved as well. Now we see America Chavez getting her studies over at Kamar-Taj, actually learning to be a sorcerer, maybe learning to control her powers a bit more. Steven just goes back to his regular life after bowing to Wong and acknowledging that he is the Sorcerer Supreme. But then at the very end of the movie, when he's walking down the street of New York, he stumbles and there's like a weird moment where he's in pain or something, and we see the third eye open up on his head. This is done to indicate that Steven has been corrupted by the Darkhold. And another really interesting thing to bring up here, and something that I don't know a lot of other people are talking about, is the fact that Stephen Strange has a photographic memory. He mentions this in the first Doctor Strange movie when he encounters Wong in the library, and he's all done with this big pile of books that he had recently checked out. He says, "This is how I got through med school. I have a photographic memory." And so there is a strong possibility that our Stephen Strange has memorized what he saw within the Darkhold, and despite all of the Darkholds being destroyed, is still studying and tinkering with the Darkhold. And then in the post-credit scene, we see Charlize Theron as Clea pop up, tell Steven that he caused an incursion and they're going to go stop it, and she opens up a portal to the Dark Dimension, which is where she's from. Quick TLDR on Clea, even though we've talked about this before, Clea is essentially a purely magical being from the Dark Dimension. So she's the daughter of Umar and actually the niece of Dormammu. And it's important to note here that before Steven agrees to go through this portal with Clea to go stop this incursion, he does have the third eye appear again, which seems to be the sign of him utilizing the Darkhold. I really think this has to do with that photographic memory and Steven continuing to study the Darkhold, because now that he understands what the incursions are, he wants to be prepared to be able to defend his universe. And a huge part of what this ending and post-credit scene is here to set up is the road towards Secret Wars. The fact that these incursions are happening, that many other universes are aware of the multiverse and the incursions, and essentially it may happen that Steven will have to fight against another Steven in a whole nother universe, possibly multiple universes, in order to defend in order to defend the 616 universe. And so I essentially think that with Clea and Doctor Strange teaming up, going into the Dark Dimension and then going to stop an incursion, they very likely are probably on their way to destroy another Earth or destroy another universe. And as crazy as it sounds, I think this is a major thread that's going to take us towards Secret Wars, with the two of those very powerful magical beings traveling throughout the multiverse, stopping incursions. It can probably only mean that they are pruning other universes to save some of them, stopping this massive calamitous collapsing of the multiverses via these incursions. Now, in order to really explain what I think is being set up at the end of this movie, I've got to get really, really sweaty about some of my favorite comic books, and this would be the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars and all of the comics that preceded that event. In that event, there was this thing called the Game of Worlds, which was essentially the collapsing of the multiverse, in which many other universes became aware of this and started trying to solve this problem to stop the incursions. One of the groups there were the Black Swans. These were these very powerful people. Their world was destroyed, but then they started to work for Rabam Allah, this other like sort of figure out there that was playing in the Game of Worlds, trying to solve these problems. In this whole experience, there was this other group called the Black Priests, and the Black Priests would go throughout the multiverse and destroy singular Earths that were invading other Earths in order to save both universes, because the way the incursions worked in the comics was basically both universes were colliding at the point of Earth. And if both Earths collided and were destroyed, both universes would be destroyed. But if one of the Earths was destroyed, it seemed to save both universes. So it started to become a thing where they just wanted to destroy these different Earths. And the Black Priests were out there destroying specific specific Earths to try to prevent the entire multiverse from collapsing. And late into that story, it's actually revealed that Doctor Strange, unbeknownst to anyone else out there, was the leader of the Black Priest. He was the one that was orchestrating all of that. And by the way, Rabama Allah, this other figure that we didn't know who they were, ended up being Doctor Doom. And so Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange both kind of stand at the end of all of the different universes, and they stand together against the Beyonders, and they're two of the most powerful people existing on Battle World in the new universe that Doctor Doom sets up after he steals the power of the Beyonders. And so I think what you're getting with the end of this movie is really the establishing of our Stephen Strange, maybe even being the leader of the Black Priest or something like that. And so later on, when we get into the full-on multiversal incursions, Secret War buildup, it could be explained that from the moment of Multiverse of Madness and the end of that film, and maybe his adventures with Clea, Stephen starts going out there and destroying Earths to try to save the multiverse. Crazy stuff. And don't worry, because the lead up to Secret Wars is fascinating, and I have a ton of different videos and content to explain what I think is going on, what was going on with the Illuminati, etc., etc. But that's it, guys. That's my ending explained video for Multiverse of Madness and the post-credit scenes. Let me know what you think about that. Smash a like on this video, and again, subscribe here so you don't miss any of the coming content as we continue to talk about this crazy, crazy movie and where the MCU is going.